Well, with me is Tim Boydell from Ango Family Winemakers. Proud history in winemaking in Australia and a big involvement this weekend.
Absolutely, we're really pleased to be involved in the World Superbikes. It's obviously an international event, and we are selling to 35 countries around the world, so we certainly want to have our brand represented here at a great event in Australia. The reason why we sponsor the historic bike class is because obviously we're a 125-year-old family-owned wine company. We've got a lot of old things around our winery, but we're moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to stay at the cutting edge, and certainly, we see that as a great match, and we're very pleased to be involved with it.
I thought you might have been going to say because the competitors in that class, like good wine, just get better with age.
Well, there's no doubt about that. That's very true as well, and our wines are aging perfectly, and that can be seen by the medals and endorsements we're getting of recent time for our aged wines. They're doing wonderfully.
Well, unfortunately, I can't sample any of your product before I go out in the historic events, but if I manage to get on the podium, that's very unlikely, then there better be a bottle of Angos up there for me.
Absolutely no problem, there will be, and we look forward to seeing you up there. I wish you all the best.
And thanks for your support of the event, Tim.
No problem, pleasure.
Well, Phil, we're still waiting for those bottles of vino to be brought up to the commentary box. Maybe tomorrow morning when we get here, there might be a bit of a surprise.
Well, see,
us.
Ken was also saying that the vintage competitors down there, and I said, no, well, vintage doesn't have to be old. It can just be really, really good. And so far, Braxy, that's what the two races have been to date. Let's hope that the third one lives up to that pretty high benchmark that they've set themselves.
I'm still missing one bloke on the historics.
Michael Dibb?
Exactly, on that big, massive six-cylinder Honda.
Well, the last couple of meetings, we've actually seen him in action on the bike that Wayne Gardner rode at the Island Classic here a couple of years ago, the CB 900 Honda. But,
look at that Suzuki of Robbie Phillis. That's just
it actually looks better now than what it did when they were first released with the new wheels. And look at the swing arm on Robbie Phillis's machine. That is a work of art.
They didn't come with swing arms like that when they brought out, that's for sure.
And next to him is Laurie Fyffe on his Suzuki GSX. And on the outside of the front row of the grid is Scotty Webster. But the man that sits on pole position is the man that's won 2 races so far this weekend, qualified in Superpole for his first ever run in Superbike, and a man that's had a massive, massive weekend is the only way you can describe it, and that's the young man from Coffs Harbour, Beau Beaton.
Yeah, that's for sure. And there's a couple more vacancies on the grid now as the attrition rate continues in the old historics. But the rest of them will be out there. I'm looking for our editor.
Just looking back there.
Commentator. There he is, middle of the 6th row.
But back there on the 3rd row of the grid, that number 38 machine of Steve Wood, Braxy, the Honda CB 750. That is a fantastic looking machine. Look at it. Looks an absolute treat down there.
The level of presentation on these, we keep saying it, people probably get sick of us, but what they are, what they're like, it's well worth coming down. I'm sure they'll be on display for the rest of the day. A few of them might go home, but why would you go home when you got 6 races tomorrow of world-class action? As they head off on their warm-up lap.
Another rider that'll be hoping to replicate his performance from Friday afternoon is Andy Lind on bike number 311. That he was in that sensational battle for 3rd place. Steve Lembruggen on the Kawasaki H2 not getting away from the line on the warm-up lap. Let's hope they can get that machine going, but unfortunately looks like it's heading towards the side of the circuit. So bad news there for Steve Lembruggen and all fans of two-stroke racing, because you won't be able to see or smell that magnificent H2 Kawasaki.
Well, there's a couple of other two-strokes out there, with one of them being Craig Ditchburn's Yamaha TZ750.
And also the man that Ken's been battling with, Jock Williams, on his TZ750 as well. And Ken said he went past him that fast down the straight on one of the laps that nearly sucked him clean off the Z650.
I think he might have just stalled it, Phil, and they're going to give him a bit of a push start and see how they're pulling him back, and going to give him a bit of a run-up and see if they can get it into gear. So it'll be in gear. They're just trying to get it going. He's having a look at the bottom, maybe tickling the carbies a bit, as you used to do in those old days.
Let's hope they can get that magnificent machine started, but no, shake of the head there from Steve. I think, unfortunately, it may be all over for him for this weekend. So bad news there for Steve Lembruggen on 55, and bad news for all fans of two-stroke racing. But the good news is, Braxy, that we're only about 2 corners away now from the riders coming back to take up their positions on the grid. And the man that will start from pole position, as we said, is Beau Beaton. But the action for second, third and fourth place is going to be very, very frantic down into the first corner, because we've seen Beau Beaton hasn't been getting the best of starts, and Robbie Phillis has been making hay while the sun's shining, and it has been doing that for 2 days so far here at Phillip Island.
Yeah, and hopefully the weather sticks with us. But when I got off air from talking to Mark Atchison after that Super Sport qualifying, he said the weather forecast not looking too flash for tomorrow. I said, how do you go on the superbikes? And he said, I've never ridden a superbike in the wet. So we're all hoping that the rain stays well away from this beautiful Phillip Island layout, so we can have a good day without having to worry about rain having an effect on the crowd, for one, and the people enjoying themselves, and number two, detracting from the race action that we've come to expect with these guys. Have been so close and so competitive. And bike number 107 also there in the second row of the grid.
Everyone's gone Katana mad, haven't they, Braxy?
Yeah, Roger Gunn on his Katana. That's
good to see Craig Ditchburn and Barry Ditchburn both out there on the 31 and 321 machines. That's the rider that was missing from the third row of the grid. Just about ready for a start, Braxy.
They're off. 1, 2, go. And another great start from Robbie Phillis. Oh, him and Beau Beaton nearly had a clash as Beau Beaton tried to pull in and just nearly touched the back wheel as they head down into turn 1, Dewan corner for the first time of this 6-lap journey. And it's Robbie Phillis there from Mr. Scotty Webster on the Moto Martin, and around the outside, it's could write a song about that actually, as Beau Beaton takes the Irving Black Lightning 1300cc into second spot. That's the closest he's been to Robbie Phillis in either of the previous 2 races.
And Albert Hennepe's also got a fantastic start, as has Robbie Ruwalt on bike number 50. What Ruwalt on is... he got a good start. No, there he is on bike number 62. And he's just behind the loose cannon, Laurie Fyffe, as they tip down into turn 4 on the first occasion. But Beaton has got a bit of work to do to try and find his way past Robbie Phillis, who will try and make that Katana even wider than it was in the first couple of races. And Beaton will be trying to get past, but trying to go with them, more importantly, is Scotty Webster on the Moto Martin framed Kawasaki engine. Look at the lead they've already pulled out over the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th place between Andy Lind, Albert Hennepe and Laurie Fyffe, Braxy.
Yeah, but those three will get caught up in their own battle. They won't care who's out in front. They'll have a nice little time of it as they've done in the previous races. But good to see Scotty Webster so close to these pairs. So hopefully he can get a tag along down the straight and give him a bit of a hurry up, because he's a bit of a demon under the brakes as well.
They always jokingly say that he rises to the occasion at the big events, but he always does, and he loves this Phillip Island circuit, and probably more importantly, the machine loves this Phillip Island circuit. The French endurance frame. Look at the speed of the Moto Martin as he pulls out from behind Beau Beaton and tries to assault Robbie Phillis down the front straight. He's on the outside of the track. I think Phillis is going to have the better track position, Braxy, as they go down into turn 1.
Here's a replay
of the start. We might be looking at a jump start here, and. Oh, geez, I don't know what happened there, but look at Robbie Phillis get a flying leap off the line.
I think he was assaulted and almost peppered then by Scott Webster as he came into turn 1. No jump start, so that's okay. It was just a different angle for the from the cameras to have a look at. But Beau Beaton, I thought he would have been powered past him in the back section, but Robbie Phillis still in control. Now here we go. We've got Albert Hennepe up the 4th spot and Andrew Lind and Laurie Fyffe. But the action at the front, we've got to look at this as they go into Siberia for the second time. 4 laps to go after this one. And we'll just see if we can get Beau Beaton on that Irving Black Lightning 1300cc against the 1000cc, the 1100cc of Robbie Phillis on that Katana from back in about 1984, I think they come out, 83, didn't they? Because it was before that, it was just the GSX E models. That, around the outside comes Beau Beaton. That's a brave move to get out into the marbles there, and there'll be a lot of marbles there from all the bikes we've had going through there in the last, since last week.
You'd have to be off your marbles to try going out there, Braxy, but Beau Beaton, I think it shows the level of desperation. He knows he's got to try and get past Robbie Phillis. You can't give him an inch, he'll take a mile. And as they come round now through the top end of the circuit, this is where Phillis's Katana really has the advantage. He's got that little screen that he can tuck down behind. He's got the massive horsepower by his own admission. The thing was lighting up everywhere on Friday. And also looking at this battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. Laurie Fyffe and Andy Lind go elbow to elbow down the front straight. Albert de Hennepe's in 4th place. Then it's Glenn Carroll's up to 7th place. A great ride from the Z Owners Racing Machine of Glenn Carroll, bike number 53. That's a Macintosh framed Kawasaki engine in that one, Braxy, and is an absolute treat. Robbie Ruwalt on his Z1000J in 8th place at the moment.
And Craig Ditchburn again expiring the old TZ, so that's another one that's gone to the pits.
Keithy Higgs in 9th place on 26. Bobby Mariner in 10th place on bike number 40. And the yellow Katana of Roger Gunn, Braxy, back to 11th place. And Ken Wooden's ahead of the TZ 750 of Jock Williams that he's been battling with every race so far this weekend.
That's good to see. He might have sweated the flu out of him by having a bit of a steer around here. Might be feeling a bit better tomorrow, our co-commentator up here. But Robbie Phillis, he's found something. He's a bit of a hard charge and a bit of a hard nut. But he's really pulled something out of the bag because Beau's getting a bit frustrated. He's trying lines that you wouldn't see in a schoolboy detention yard at the moment.
And Robbie Phillis got the fastest lap of the race too. Braxy, as Beaton goes down the inside and just puts his bike in a position that Robbie Phillis can do nothing about. But Phillis tries to come back up the inside, not quite got the corner speed of Beau Beaton, nor the determination of the young man from Coffs Harbour.
I thought he was Robbie Phillis was looking across at Beau Beaton on the way exit of that MG corner to see if the kill switch was anywhere close that he could grab hold of.
But I think the horse may have just bolted now as Beau Beaton comes round to complete that lap. A 42.924, fastest lap of the race for Beau Beaton. I expect the next one, Braxy, will be faster now that he's got some clear air in front of him. But can Robbie Phillis, Mr. Superbike, come up and put the Katana into position to get ahead of Beau Beaton? I think Beau Beaton's got the greater corner entry speed, Braxy, and that's what's going to make it the most difficult for Mr. Superbike to get up there and place his Katana in a position to get him ahead.
Yeah, I think that you're right. The horse has bolted. Once he got a bit, he could get the Irving in front and get the clear track, get the clear air without having to worry about where Robbie was on the track and being dictated to where he could put the power down and such. But Robbie Phillis certainly not giving up without a decent fight on that Mick Hone Suzuki 1100. And it's an immaculate piece of kit that he's got there. And the evergreen Robbie Phillis, I know he's a bit older than me because so he'd be approaching, well, 35 or 40 by now, I'd say.
That may be a small understatement there, Braxy.
Just quite. Well,
well, the other thing is, though, too, that he's got plenty of racing experience, and Beau Beaton's only in about his 3rd or 4th year of serious road racing. And to be going elbow to elbow with the rider of the calibre of Robbie Phillis, that's one of the reasons why we see Beau Beaton continually coming back and riding this machine. They've had some great battles here over the years. And, look at Robbie Phillis, still full of determination. You can see the 1,000-yard stare through the clear visor of his AGV helmet as he comes round through the top end of the circuit. Scotty Webster still in 3rd place, although a fair way behind this battle for 3rd place. He hasn't been able to go with them. The battle for 3rd place is on in earnest. Albert de Hennepe is still leading Laurie Fyffe and Andy Lind around through the top end of the circuit. They're coming through turn 12 now and onto the straight. Glenn Carroll still in 7th place in a fantastic ride on the Macintosh Kawasaki. Robbie Ruwalt in 8th place on bike number 62. And unfortunately, Braxy looks like Craig Ditchburn right to the back of the field and may have even pulled into the pits.
I'd say he would have done. Look, he was going backwards at a great rate of knots. But am I mistaken, or is Robbie Phillis a little bit closer than he was? And maybe just getting that extra mumbo of the Suzuki down Gardner Straight allowed him to get closer. But once this Irving gets into the corners, it is got the Araldite stuck to it and just follows that line. Doesn't even move offline, does it?
I love it when the riders make us look like we know what we're talking about, because Beau Beaton's last lap was his fastest lap, the first time he's had some clear air in front of that Irving Vincent, a 141.463. And I think he did a 140 this morning, so that's just fractionally off his time from this morning's race. But he's also had very limited time with clean air. Laurie Fyffe back up ahead of Albert de Hennepe now. So Fyffe on 23, the loose cannon. He's fired a couple of balls in Albert's direction and managed to get ahead. Albert de Hennepe on that sharp-tuned Kawasaki. That is one of the most magnificently presented bikes in any category this weekend. And that's been ridden very, very well as well. Great race from Albert in the race before. Back to the front now. I think Robbie Phillis is closer, Braxy, than what he was at the exit of this corner on the last lap.
is Beau Beaton just teasing him, giving that tantalising taste of exhaust smoke so we can get a bit more inspiration to see if he can track him down. Because in the previous races, once Beau's been in front, he's managed to pull away and get a really big gap, but he hasn't been able to do it.
Oh, Robbie Phillis faster on the last lap by nearly 1 second, Braxy.
We can pick that again as they commence their last lap. He's gone past him. I think there might be something wrong with Beau's bike, or not. Oh, no, he's round the outside of him again, but geez, he hosed past Beau Beaton on that Irving, didn't he? He really thought he had it, but Robbie Phillis, hopefully he doesn't get too excited. If he can stick with him, Phil, if he can stick with him on this last lap, maybe the Mumbo or the GSX might be enough to get the Katana in front. This will be an 84 model Katana, I think, because the GSX range started in 1985, I do believe, with the GSX-R 1100, the first ones.
They just went past Dave Nicholson on the 800 machine, and he got out of the way to let them pass. And also got a fantastic view of Mr. Superbike in red-hot action at the moment. Maybe Beau Beaton just let him ahead to say, hey, look what I can do at turn 2, as he went straight across the front of him. But Braxy, there's only a couple of corners left now, and I think that Beau Beaton has probably got enough of a lead over Mr. Superbike to ensure that Robbie Phillis won't be able to use the very long legs of that Katana.
I bet Beau Beaton's not feeling too comfortable at the moment. He could hear the force of the cylinder behind him, but we'll see what Robbie Phillis can do if he can get the good drive out of here and maybe close up the gap. But you're right, I think Beau's got just enough of a gap at the moment to take 3 from 3 from the Angove Winery's historic support races here at Phillip. Look at the body language of Beau Beaton. He's all over it. He's wringing the neck of that Irving Black Lightning, and no way is Robbie Phillis going to be able to catch that as he gets the checkered flag for 3 from 3, with Robbie Phillis taking 3 second places.
Big interest though, Braxy, is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th, because Scotty Webster looks like he'll come round to complete in 3rd place. Here comes Scotty Webster now on that Moto Martin Kawasaki bike number 76. The real battle, though, is his battle for 3rd place. It looks like, is it the loose cannon Laurie Fyffe that's going to take 4th place ahead of Albert Tehenepe on bike number 8. So Fyffe on 23, Tehenepe on 8, onto the start-finish straight. It is Laurie Fyffe on 23. Goes for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, twist of the grip there to make sure he stays ahead. Andy Lind comes home to complete in 6th place. Another fantastic ride. And looks like the next rider through will be Glenn Carroll. So there he goes now. Glenn Carroll on that Macintosh Kawasaki.
Oh, that was...
What a fantastic weekend of racing, Braxy, and I think that sums it all up.
That was, look at Beau, he's going, that was fantastic. They're both having a cack under the helmets, and that's great camaraderie. And Beau Beaton must be pinching himself to think that he's racing with one of the legends. And this is a true story, the legends of Australian motorcycle racing for the last 50 years. Robbie Phillis, and now maybe Beau Beaton.
The last 50 years, you've given away your age, Braxy.
Well, no, look, oh, he's got the thing on the back wheel, the Irving Black Lightning. Don't know if the owners would be too keen on that, with it not having the best oil pump in the world. If it has got an oil pump, they'll pour it all down the back. But Scotty Webster, they're all having a bit of a chuckle, and I can imagine the bench racing when they get back to the pits in about 30 seconds time of they jumping off. It's a pity we haven't got a camera down there to see the back slapping that carries on, as there's Barry Ditchburn on that immaculate two-stroke. But hats off to all of them. They've had a great weekend of racing, and ever popular historics, proudly brought to you by the Amgrove family wineries. And speaking of Amgrove, we might have one more word about that fine family vineyard.